Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports podcast. On this podcast, Lane Frank, we're now in episode 234. Yes, we're 234 episodes through, and I got an action-packed episode planned for you. We're going to break down Week 6 in the NFL, the MLB playoffs, college football, a little news in the NBA, and so much more on this action-packed episode 234. So let's hop into it. Now, let's start off episode 234, how we always do, with our headlines. And in the NBA, LeBron James teased the whole NBA world this week with his second decision. It was corny, it was stupid, it cost people a lot of money for tickets. Maybe they can use that to buy his new Hennessy bottle. I'm not a fan of it. LeBron James, dumb announcement, dumb decision. That's all I'm going to comment on it, but I'm going to say it was a dumb announcement and a dumb ad. You got clicks, LeBron. You did. And also, anybody who bought tickets because of that, you're one gullible person. So, on you too. But LeBron, I don't like that advertisement. You're fooling the idiots out here. Now, in the NFL, Mac Jones got things going last Thursday night against the Rams, and it was a great game, and Mac Jones is dealing for San Francisco. I don't want to say a quarterback controversy, but I do. Mac Jones has everything on Brock Purdy, on paper, sometimes seems like. Doesn't have that huge contract, but he's been to a playoff game before. Mac Jones has won Rookie of the Year before. Mac Jones was a first-round pick. Mac Jones has won national championship. I don't want to go all the way back to college, but Mac Jones is a big, tall QB. Brock Purdy's a little slow, a little stocky, a little short. Mac Jones could be the quarterback of the future for the 49ers and definitely deserves a second shot starting in the NFL, in my opinion. Dylan Gabriel looked pretty good on Sunday. Now, the Browns played really well. They had good stats in every category, and they didn't win. That shows me that coaching is bad, and Kevin Stefanski, that's on you. But for Dylan Gabriel, a good loss, in my opinion. That's what we want to see out of Dylan Gabriel in his first start in London against the Vikings. A good Vikings defense. So for Dylan Gabriel, good on him. They traded Joe Flacco this week. I think that shows a little bit more confidence in Dylan Gabriel. Indianapolis Colts are still rolling. I mean, they went 40-6 last week. This is one of the best teams in the NFL. Daniel Jones, a pleasant surprise. My New York Giants, I thought we were rolling at one point. Win against Chargers last week, 14-0. You have a new tight end with 2 touchdowns. Jackson Dart's playing great. And you lose 26-14 to the New Orleans Saints. The worst team in football at that point. I hate to see it. As a Giants fan. But Jackson Dart, you can get another shot at this week against the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football. Speaking of the Eagles, tough game that was to them on Sunday, getting their first loss of the season to the Denver Broncos. And the Bills, the only other undefeated team, also lost on Sunday night to the New England Patriots. So no unbeaten teams left in the NFL. For the Dallas Cowboys, they got a great win on Sunday, leaving the New York Jets winless still in the season at 0-5. Cowboys moved to 2-1. Brian Schottenheimer, he's fighting to keep this job. He wants this to be his permanent job as the Dallas Cowboys head coach. And I don't blame him. It's a great gig. I think he's done a good job at it so far. Let's see if he can keep it going. Baltimore Ravens, they might need to be making some changes soon. John Harbaugh has had a great line of defense coordinators. Wink Martindale, Mike McDonald, Jesse Minter was on staff at one point. Now they've got Zachary Orr, who you thought was next up in that line of great defense coordinators. Heck, he could have been the Michigan defense coordinator at one point. But Zachary Orr has been struggling as this team's defense coordinator, dating back to last season, his first season as their defense coordinator. That defense looked awful on Sunday. Awful. It's a talented roster. It's a talented defense. I don't know what to say about it, but tough right there for Zachary Orr and the Ravens. The Tennessee Titans got their first win of the season on Sunday in the craziest choke ever by the Arizona Cardinals. They were up in that game 21-6. Amari DiMercado has a touchdown. He fumbles it. The 1-yard line, drops the ball, but it seems like they can still win that game. They get an interception late in the game. Boy, they fumble that. Tyler Lockett recovers in the end zone for a touchdown. It was a whirlwind of events and the biggest choke I've seen on a football field, and that's how the Tennessee Titans won that football game. So congrats to Cam Ward, made some great throws down the stretch, especially in that last drive to lead to that game-winning field goal by Joey Sly. So credit right there to Cam Ward for those big plays. Cincinnati Bengals just traded for Joe Flacco. I don't know if he's going to be their starter, but Jake Browning has looked awful so far. He did again on Sunday against the Detroit Lions. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on fire. They're 4-1, an ugly 4-1, mind you, but they beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football, and they're looking solid so far this season with Liam Cohen as their head coach. Next thing in the headlines, the MLB playoffs are awesome this season. I talked about how it's the worst MLB season ever because no team at 100 wins, but that just proves that competition is at its highest right now, and we're seeing that in the playoffs. So a lot more to come on the MLB and the NFL in this episode. Stay tuned. Now, Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. Let's pick through the top games in the NFL this week. Broncos versus the Jets. I think the Jets go to 0-6. I think Aaron Glenn has done a great job coaching this team so far. I just don't get why they're 0-5. But they played the Broncos, and the Broncos get a win there, coming off their win against the Eagles last week. Browns versus Steelers. I like Dylan Gabriel. They played fine last week. But Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers coming off a bye week. A healthy, arrested Aaron Rodgers gets the job done against the Browns. Cowboys versus the Panthers. Cowboys get the job done this one. I think the Panthers are a very on and off team. Great win last week against Miami. They don't get the win this week. Let's go with Dallas over Carolina. Seahawks versus the Jaguars. Both teams are 4-1. I'm going to go with the team with the better defense. That's what I've got to rely on here, and that's the Seattle Seahawks over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rams versus the Ravens. The Rams are going to slice and dice this Ravens defense. I talked about in the headlines, Zachary Orr, the defense coordinator for the Ravens, can't get things going so far. And I think Matthew Stafford and the Rams take advantage of that, and they get the win to give the Ravens yet another loss. Bengals versus the Packers. I like the Packers in this one. Kind of similar with the Steelers. Coming off a bye week. Whoever plays quarterback for the Bengals, it won't be enough. 49ers versus the Buccaneers. A 4-1 versus 4-1 matchup. Buccaneers are rolling. I'm going with the 49ers in this one. Lions versus the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are reeling. I don't think they play well in this one. I'm going to go with the Lions. They get a win over the Chiefs. Send the Chiefs to 2-4 on the year. And the last one, Bears versus Commanders. A little nice rivalry we've got going on here past few years. Jane Daniels, Caleb Williams. I'm going with Caleb Williams and the Bears over the Commanders in upset here. That's about it for Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. Here are the top 5 colleges ready to take over a dynasty in both college football and college basketball. Top 5 this week. Starting out number 5, the Miami Hurricanes. Miami has a new head coach in basketball, Jai Lucas. He's bringing in some good guys through NIL, like 5-star Shelton Henderson and Michigan point guard from last year, Trey Donaldson. Good football team for Miami this year. They're number 5. 4, the Michigan Wolverines. Champion Circle, Bryce Underwood, whatever you want to call it. It's been working for Michigan in that NIL landscape. Football has obviously been on fire with these top guys. And then the basketball, friend of the show, Dusty May, has done a great job bringing in number 1 player in the transfer portal, Yaxel Lendenborg, this year, using that NIL money. Number 3, Duke. Now, when you look at Duke, it's always been known for its great basketball, and they've done that still in the NIL game. But in football, quarterback Darren Mensah is making at least $4 million a year, taking over the football landscape as well. Duke football ready to make a dynasty in both sports. 2, Texas Tech. Look no further than oil. Every time you pump gas at a gas station, you are contributing to the Texas Tech NIL fund. Texas Tech had a great season in basketball last year, making the Elite 8, improving a lot in football under Jerry Maguire. This is a team, a program, a school to watch out for, to rise up in the ranks in so many sports. In the future, they'll be building a dynasty in Lubbock. 2, Texas Tech. And number 1, the number 1 school building a dynasty across all sports in the new college landscape is BYU. The Mormons, they have money and they love to spend it on their sports. Kevin Young, new head coach of BYU, has utilized NIL in a great way, getting number 1 player in the country, AJ DeBansta. And BYU football is obviously having a great season so far. So that's about it for the top 5 college programs that are ready to become a dynasty in football and basketball. Now, did you know? This week's Did You Know is, did you know the first NIL deal ever was Master P's son, Hersey Miller, and he got $2 million from a company, Web Apps America, signed it on July 2nd, 2021. That is the first NIL deal ever. Didn't know that? Leave down in the comments. That's about for Did You Know this week. So I wanted to focus my spotlight, my attention this week on Giannis Antetokounmpo. It seems a little surprising, but Giannis Antetokounmpo might not be playing in the NBA in 3 years. He might not be. news this week was not that the New York Knicks were going after him this offseason. That wasn't the biggest news of Giannis this week. The biggest news with Giannis this week was that his family moved permanently to Greece. What that shows me is Giannis has talked about retirement in the past, early retirement. Giannis has had a great career so far. Don't be surprised if Giannis goes and plays in EuroLeague for the rest of his career or doesn't play basketball at all after the next 3 years when his contract's done in the NBA. Do not be surprised by that. A little short spotlight this week on Giannis Antetokounmpo, where I think that move for his family to go to Athens is a huge deal for Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's not going to want to live in Milwaukee without his family. He's not going to want to be in America without his family. I could definitely see Giannis Antetokounmpo saying, I've had a great NBA career. Maybe I go to one more team in the NBA and then I call it quits. But I could see 30-year-old Giannis Antetokounmpo only in the NBA for 3 to 5 years. Bookmark it. Giannis Antetokounmpo, this move signifies the beginning and the end for Giannis Antetokounmpo's time in the NBA. Not with basketball, but in the NBA. And it could be a huge move for EuroLeague basketball, especially if the NBA wants to expand and create a Euro basketball league. That's about it for my spotlight this week on the Bucks superstar, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I was up in the Midwest this weekend. I went to Michigan football. I went to their game against Wisconsin, up in Big Ten country. I don't know if you can tell, I'm a little under the weather on this episode. So when I was playing the episode, I was saying, I don't think I'm going to do a Schoolyard Sports Scream. I don't really want to scream on anybody this week. But this little idiot in Happy Valley, James Franklin, decided to lose to UCLA. Now, credit to UCLA, great game by them. Jerry Neuheisel, Tim Skipper, Nico Amaliva. But for James Franklin, this is embarrassing at this point. There is an embarrassment of riches on this roster. Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, Drew Aller, LeVar Arrington, Andy Konicki at offense coordinator, Jim Knowles at defense coordinator. There's talent on talent on talent on this team. Yet James Franklin can't piece it together. Here's a fun stat. James Franklin has beaten a Big Ten opponent ranked in the top 10 once in his time at Penn State. You know what the time that happened? His first time against Ohio State in 2016. When he played Ohio State in 2016 and beat them, the game that put them on the map when they were 5-2 and they got that win. I remember that game like it was yesterday. Grant Haley gets the block touchdown off Tyler Dermott's field goal. They win that game. Great game for Penn State. They rushed the field. The first whiteout that really put people on the map to Penn State football. That is the last time James Franklin has beaten a top 10 team in his conference. It's ridiculous at this point. He can't beat Michigan. He can't beat Ohio State. And guess what? He can't beat Oregon or UCLA either. In 2016, James Franklin was on top of the college football world. They beat Ohio State. They won the Big Ten. And guess what? They made it to the Rose Bowl. He choked in the Rose Bowl. Foreshadowing. 2017, great team again. That team could have won a national championship. I stand by that to this day. Okay? They were up in the second half against Ohio State by a lot. They were killing them. 3 possessions at one point in that game. They lose that game. They're up against a bad Michigan State team. They lose that game. They finish their season 10-2. They beat Washington in the bowl game, New Year's Six bowl. Ooh, big who. Embarrassment of a season for James Franklin. They should have done better. Saquon Barkley's last year. Let's go 2018. Still got Trace McSorley at quarterback. Bad season for them. They make the Citrus Bowl. They play Kentucky. 2019, this was a big year for Penn State. Sean Clifford was at quarterback. They were rolling. They were going to go into Ohio State with no losses, primed for a playoff spot. But they lost to Minnesota, a game that I think was James Franklin's fault. Okay, they won the New Year's Six bowl game that year, but you still lost to Ohio State, and you still lost to Minnesota. 2020 was a terrible season for James Franklin. They didn't win a game until they played Michigan. They won one game that season in 2020, COVID year. 2021. 2021 is another interesting year for James Franklin. They were in a good spot at one point. Then you lose to Iowa. It's a quality loss. This is the James Franklin special. A quality loss leads into a bad mistake. Because when you have a quality loss, you're saying, okay, we're still a good team. We're still going to win more games. But then you lose a really easy game. That team lost to Illinois 2 weeks later. Kind of like how this team loses to Oregon in a great battle. And then they lose to a really bad UCLA team the next week. So they made the Citrus Bowl again that year. Congrats. 2021, another rough year for James Franklin. 2022, they lose to Michigan. They lose to Ohio State. They win the Rose Bowl, a Mickey Mouse Rose Bowl victory. You get my point here. James Franklin cannot win big time. 2023, Peach Bowl against Ole Miss. You don't win it. It's tough being a Penn State fan with James Franklin as your head coach. Even last year, losing to Notre Dame, a game that you were up. There's mistakes in that game that aren't on him. The drop Nick Singleton touchdown, the other things. But there's systematical things that are wrong with this football team, mentally, physically. It's all on James Franklin. That is why I'm screaming on you this week. James Franklin, thank you for making me scream on you. This was an enjoyment. Now, around the bases in the MLB, Dodgers are still my pick for the World Series, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is looking like an MVP caliber player once again in this series. Now, I think if he didn't sign that contract earlier in the year, he could easily have gotten $100 million more this offseason by the Blue Jays. Great series win for the Blue Jays, making it back to the ALCS for the first time since 2016 and 2015. 2015, they played the Royals. 2016, they played the Cleveland Indians. That's about for around the bases. We got some other great series currently going on. Now, college football showcase. You know how we roll. I give you my top 25, then my 6 hot takes for the week. Starting out with number 1 in the country, the Oregon Ducks. Number 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes. 3, Miami. 4, Ole Miss. 5, Alabama. 6, Texas A&M. 7, Oklahoma. 8, Indiana. 9, Georgia. 10, LSU. 11, Texas Tech. 12, Georgia Tech. 13, Tennessee. 14, Michigan. Go Blue. 15, Mizzou. 16, Notre Dame. 17, Vanderbilt. 18, Iowa State. 19, Illinois. 20, Arizona State. 21, TCU. 22, Virginia. 23, BYU. 24, USC. And 25, the Florida State Seminoles. That's the top 25. Hot takes coming up sizzling next. Now, our 6 hot takes of the week are here, and this room just got a lot hotter because these are burning off the plate. Starting out in Champaign, Illinois, where people think Illinois might have a chance in this one against Ohio State. Let me calm it down a little bit. If anybody's going to pick against Ohio State, it's me, but I just don't see it here. I think Illinois has a really bad counter for Ohio State's passing offense. Let's go with Ohio State over Illinois. 2, Alabama over Missouri, but close. This is Missouri's biggest game since 2007. Columbia, Missouri, 5-0. Bo Perbula, they think he's the Heisman. Elijah Drinkwitz is going to be their hero if they win this game. They're ready to carry him off into the sunset. And normally I would pick Missouri in a game like this, but Alabama and Ty Simpson have been playing like the best team in the country since that Week 1 loss against Florida State. So Alabama over Missouri, but close. Oklahoma over Texas in the Red River Shootout. Whether it's John Mateer, whether it's Michael Hawkins, Arch Manning still throws interceptions, and Oklahoma beats Texas. Michigan over USC. I'm actually going to be out there at that game. I think USC's air raid offense is no match for this Wink Martindale Michigan defense. I think Michigan's running game attacks this USC second level, third level, first level, and Michigan gets the win over USC. Big upset in the SEC. Night game at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn over Georgia. Last time Auburn had a home night game, it was against Texas A&M. They got that win last season to move Texas A&M out of playoff contention. And I think Auburn gets a great win right here over Georgia. Next one, Indiana over Oregon in the game of the week. Indiana Hoosiers are a great squad. Oregon has a great squad and Dante Moore. But I think at the end of the day, Fernando Mendoza is the difference for the Hoosiers. I think Oregon is a great team, but I want to pick an upset here. I really do. I want to see how far this Kurt Cignetti team can go with Fernando Mendoza, our quarterback, with Roman Hemby, with a lot of good players on this team. So I'm ready to ride it out with Indiana over Oregon on the road. And that's about for the 6 hot takes this week. Now, the best for last question of the day. This week's question of the day is, who's been the biggest surprise this year in the NFL? For me, it's Daniel Jones. Who is it for you? That's about question of the day this week. That's about for Squared Sports Lane Frank, episode 234. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Squared Sports on Instagram at Squared Sports. Follow Squared Sports on X at Squared Sport. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review for the best sports content in the world. Be back here next week, episode 235. Stay tuned.